It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier and Chris Martineau. On this week's episode number 43, Jay, Chris, and their special guest from the band Town Meeting and co-host on the podcast, Long May You Young, Luke Condon. Jay, Chris, and Luke review the 1990 American drama film Awakenings. Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody, in this great wide world of ours. Welcome back to the Film Crickets. I am co-host Chris Martineau, joined by my lifelong friend,
Jay Fortier.
Hey, Jay, what's happening today? What's going on with your bad self?
Having fun, baby. I saw this movie for the first time today, so I'm very excited.
Oh, all right, great. Well, before we get into the movie, let's welcome as Steve, our illustrious voiceover PA guy, already introduced as well. But let's welcome into the room Luke Condon. Everybody, let's get a nice round of applause for Luke. Welcome aboard, Luke. Glad you could be here.
Glad to be here.
So, Luke, you're in from what Steve says at the beginning, you're in a band called Town Meeting. So what's the deal? Tell me a little bit about Town Meeting before we get going.
So, first of all, that intro was wonderful. So, was that guy's name Steve?
Steve Lavoie.
It was really great. You guys are way more prepared than I am for literally anything in my life in these episodes. So.
I think, personally, Luke, we need a highlight reel of the guests coming in and hearing the jingle for the first time, because everybody in the little windows here are all going. So anyway,
it's great. It's super catchy. I love it.
I know, right?
Yeah, and just real quick, that's a band called Draco and the Malfoys that did that for us.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So,
so Town Meeting is my band. I'm in it with my two brothers and two others. We started off doing real folky, Americana stuff, and we've morphed into I don't even know what anyway. I mean,
death metal.
We can fit in with jam bands.
All right.
Well, we've covered some death metal songs.
Oh, that's cool.
We have fun. I would say maybe country rock, bluesy, original, weird, fun stuff. So
cool. And
awesome.
And apparently you have a love of Neil Young, because you have a podcast called Long May You Young. So,
yes.
So excellent. That's cool.
With Mike Shue as well.
With Mike Shue. So you're more of a Crosby, Stills and Nash Neil Young, or are you more of a Harvest Moon Neil Young, or what's your preference to Youngisms?
So I would say I'm definitely, my favorite Neil is 70s Neil.
All right.
From his self-titled all the way to Zuma and Live Rust. But our podcast goes through his albums in chronological order, and we're over a year doing this, and we're still only at the halfway point. So I think that speaks to how
that's something
how great his catalog is.
That's awesome.
It's wild.
That's cool.
But I'm really appreciating 90s Neil in a way that I never have. Broken Arrow, Mirrorball. I just love all Neil, but I think 70s Neil would be my guy. So.
Now, I had seen a documentary. It was a behind the music on Rick James, saying that him and Neil Young actually were about to be in a band together, but as they were leaving Canada going into America, Rick got in trouble for dodging the draft.
Yep. I think I heard the same thing. Yeah, Neil's got a cool little history with a lot of different people, including Rick. So
think of that combo.
Yeah,
that's something.
Oh my God, have they gotten together? Have they gotten together ever?
I don't know.
After that, or no?
I don't know. That's just
we haven't covered it yet. If they have, so
with the 5 cornstalks. What did the 5 cornstalks say to the face? I'm Neil Young, bitch. Okay, so. Let's get going with this week's movie. So, sorry, that was a bit of a. All right. So anyhow, so what we have, our goal in the Film Crickets is to look at movies from the past, from 1980 to 1999. We watch them either for the first time or watch them again, even though we haven't watched them in a long time, and we decide whether or not they stand up. So to the test of time. So today's request or today's selection was Awakenings. So I'm going to start, Jay. I'm going to do the rundown, if you don't mind. We'll get right into it. Is that okay?
Awesome. Yeah.
All right. It's cool. So what we have today is 1990 Awakenings, starring Robin Williams and Robert De Niro, the victims of an encephalitic epidemic many years ago have been catatonic ever since, but now a new drug offers the prospect of reviving them. And I got to tell you, IMDb does a wonderful job of selling the plot short with their little one-sentence blurb. There's far more going on in this movie than that brings up. But one thing I forgot, this movie directed by Penny Marshall. I forgot about that entirely, that this is a Penny Marshall film. This is right before, or a couple of years before, A League of Their Own, but after her foray in Jumping Jack Flash and all these other movies. Written by Oliver Sacks, but I got to talk about that later, and Steven Zalian. And it stars De Niro and Robin Williams and Marge Simpson herself. Julie Kavner is in this movie. John Hurd, Alice Drummond, George Martin, and a litany of other character actors. So we got to talk about De Niro. We got to talk about Robin Williams. But I think I've been liking this first question a lot. So let's go around the room and just real quick, have you seen this movie before? Was this your first time with this movie? Or when was the last time you saw it? So Jay, you mentioned this a moment ago, but where are you at with Awakenings?
No, it's one of those movies. See, you got to understand. I don't seek out movies that people say, "Oh man, it's great," but boy, does it rip your heart out and so sad. I'm good. I'm all set. Like, and it's not. Maybe I'm selling myself short, or maybe I'm robbing myself. But sometimes it's just one of those things. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait, and then literally my life is just going, and it's like I never got to it. But see, I love this because once he picked it, it was like, got to see it now. So yeah,
yep.
So
all right, first time,
absolutely,
first time. All right, so Luke, where are you at with Awakenings?
So I just rewatched this recently, right before actually this week when I rewatched it again for this podcast. But this is my fourth or fifth time watching this movie. I watched it when I was a kid when it first came out with my grandmother, and I remember years after her saying this is her favorite movie of all time, and I kind of forgot about it. And then when I was like 24 or 25, she had just passed away, and it was like a pretty sad time in my life. But I remember, completely unrelated, I was like, okay, in memory of my grandmother, I'll watch this movie. And there's one scene in it where it's the scene kind of towards the end when Leonard, De Niro's character, is we can do spoilers on this.
Oh no,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whole thing's a big spoiler.
It's when he starts to realize that the medicine is not working quite as well, and and he's shaking a lot, and he knows it's kind of inevitable that he's going to go back to his catatonic state. And that woman he kind of is having a crush on just grabs him and starts dancing with him to this like beautiful piano music, and something about all of that, I started like crying uncontrollably, and so loudly I had to run into my basement so I wouldn't wake up my young children. I was like wailing, and I don't know. This does not happen to me often. I mean, I tear up. I'm not afraid to admit that I'll tear up at a good commercial or a Pixar movie, but this one just caught me off guard. And even this time around, I actually watched it with my daughter who had just turned 12, and she's named after my grandmother. And again, that same scene, I had to leave the room. It just got me again. So I don't know what it is, man.
That's
awesome.
The ultimate scene for me. That was just, it's one of those, you can sort of see it coming, like not that part, but I'm talking about him going back into the catatonic state and getting you get the shaking and all the bad stuff. So you just know nothing good is going to happen. But when that happens, when that dance happens, it's that I didn't see it coming. So like that really just grabbed me. That 100%. That was my ultimate moment in the film.
So I'll one up you, and I actually watched this movie a lot when I would guess probably when Luke was watching it when he was younger, and I would actually rent this like by myself. I'd just go, because back in the video store days, I just go rent it. And the reason why is because it was a movie that actually, and I'll tell you the scene that makes me cry in a moment, but it's a movie that actually made me weep every time I saw this one scene. It was so, I think in reflection, I was so intrigued by that. Like, I didn't even know I wanted to cry at a movie over and over and over again. You know what I mean? Like, it was stirring something that I didn't think I had. Not a lot of movies do this. And I was thinking about this when and I'll tell you the scene in a moment. The end of Rudy makes me cry when he comes out on the field. Can't help it. Absolutely can't help it. Well, here's an embarrassing one I'll give you. The end of Wreck-It Ralph, when he's flying through the air saying, I'm a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. And he's going to sacrifice himself to save Penelope Van Schweet. I'm so stupid, but that makes me cry because it's such
I get it, man.
I don't give a shit. I'm just like, because it's such a character arc, and I'm so invested in Wreck-It Ralph at that point. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. So there's a lot of those movies. So for this movie, I rented it over. I know it's so dumb. I'll admit it. I don't give a shit. So and there are others that I can't remember, but for me, this movie, and I've seen this movie a bunch, but I hadn't seen it till The Assignment for the podcast. So I was very interested to watch it again. I remember it being very sad, but to me, it's the moment when his mother comes in. And he puts out his arms and he says, Mom. And he kind of waddles toward her. And something makes me, when I was young, it got me every goddamn time. And I don't know why. Like, I'm sure I know why. We can go El Oedipal here, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, it's just because the look in his eyes of sheer relief and joy that he can see his mother for the first time actually say to her what he wants to say. And what is interesting is that when I rewatched the movie, when Sax visits Leonard's mother because he's trying to say, I want to give your son this drug, she says the last thing he said to me was Mom with his arm out. And then the first thing that happens when he sees him again is his arm's out and he says, Mom. It's almost like we're picking it up from this point, which I think is just great. So obviously we're dealing with a pretty heavy movie. It's a pretty heavy movie. So it's obviously pretty rough. It's not rough. It's so sad. It's one of those movies that make it so sad, but it has a theme about life that you have to kind of make sure that you're taking advantage of every moment in life. So that whole bit is crazy. So let's talk about Robin Williams. Okay, so has anybody seen? It was on HBO. So Robin Williams, unfortunately, has left this world. He was upon reflection, a very sad person. Has anybody ever seen clips of Robin Williams when he wasn't on stage? Has anybody seen any of that stuff?
Sure. I didn't see the special.
Jason?
No, I didn't see the special.
Yeah, there's this special with Robin Williams after.
I'm not sure about stuff where he's not on stage. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He is not. He as a person was not at all comfortable in his own skin by himself. And I don't know if that was because of all the drugs. I don't know if it was because I knew he was on medication for some kind of anti-anxiety, anti-bipolar or something. But he was not at all comfortable in one-on-one situations. He's uncomfortable with 1,000 people trying to make them all laugh. Because he was always trying to diffuse away from his own kind of like not comfortable with himself. And and it's really sad to watch because Robin Williams is so goddamn funny and he made everybody laugh. But inside he was really in pain most of the time because he just didn't know how to be himself.
By the way,
and so now we
pause. A lot of comics.
Pause.
Yeah. Yeah, like
you're right.
From what I hear is that a lot of them are miserable and seeking that missing thing that they whatever it is. So and they get it maybe when they're on stage, but like there's a lot of misery when they're not.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure musicians too, right? Like the thing that gives them joy is really they kind of probably hate it a little bit, right? Don't they kind of hate it a little bit? Like I have to go do this now.
Yeah, we're all pretty miserable. We're all Yeah, we're all pretty miserable.
Luke, no, but I'm saying like you know.
Yeah.
But so here we see.
No, I know. I totally know what you're saying.
All right. So here we see we have Robin Williams' character who plays Oliver Sacks. Now and I'm going to get back to this in a minute. Oliver Sacks was, first of all, there's a lot of creative license with this movie because Oliver Sacks was British. He never worked in Brooklyn. He had a book about this, but I don't know that there was necessarily a Leonard Lowe. And when I watched this movie, I went to remember Walden Books? Wow. Remember bookstores? So I went into bookstores and I found the Awakenings book and I leafed through. It's a clinical book. It's not like the movie at all. So he was very clinical. He's a CBE, which is just under being knighted in England.
Oh wow!
So he's something, right? So his character is not Robin Williams at all. But the fact of the matter is, we see Robin Williams, or I should say Oliver Sacks, Dr. Sacks, he seems very uncomfortable in his own skin. And it made me think about how much of actual Robin Williams how much is he acting right now? You know what I mean? Or is he just embracing the fact that, because this character in this movie is more relatable to worms and plants than he is to people, right? So, I don't know, that was a very interesting part to me, that it almost made me sad to watch him act like that, knowing what it was like for him at the end of his life, which is sad. I don't know. What do you think about that? I mean,
I definitely, I think that's a great point, and I think this is one of his best performances. And there are in De Niro too. I think De Niro kills it in this. And a lot of people, when I was kind of doing a little research, I found out a lot of people hate De Niro in this, and I was very surprised by that. They think it was very contrived, and also he was filming Goodfellas at the same time as this, which I think is fascinating.
Wow.
Because it's two of kind of my favorite movies, and I think two wildly different roles. And I just think both of them knock it out of the park. And I think a huge credit to the writing too. There's so many just incredible lines. It was great watching it for this episode because I watched it more intentionally this time, as opposed to for not enjoyment, but like just the emotion that I would get from watching it. And some of the choices they make in the scenes and the lines they like, even towards the end when Sacks, or what's his name in the movie? I think it's Sayer or Salver. Sayer. Yeah. It's something Sayer. Yeah. But when him and Julie Kavner's character are rewatching the clips and he's getting worked up and he's like, "You told me I was a kind man. You know, what kind of a kind man gives life and takes it away?" And she's like, "We all life gets given and taken away to all of us." And he's like, "Why doesn't that comfort me?" And she goes, "Because you're a kind man." I'm like, man, the writing is really good in this.
Yep.
It's just really well written. It's really well acted, and it's really well directed. Like, Penny Marshall knows what the hell she's doing. Like, she's great.
Oh yeah. Yep.
She is. And
go ahead, Jay.
I liked how in this Robin did not ever do the Robin Williams that we know. He didn't do that little side thing, like where or whatever. You know how he does this, like sort of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Or no, but like he even like little moments of when he's playing a even keeled character, he still sometimes throws in his Robin Williams ism. Like for instance, oh, you haven't danced in a while? Probably when Prohibition. You know what I mean? Like, it was just some sort of a thing where he'd just sort of like, even if he was being even keel, he'd throw this thing in there. You're like, oh, there's Robin. Not one moment in this film does he do a little like snide or goofy remark. It's all straight, and I love it.
Oh, man, would that have ruined this movie? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But he was able to master that in Good Will Hunting, because Good Will Hunting is kind of this movie 2.0 in terms of his acting, but there are parts he was able to control it, because if you remember in Good Will Hunting, you know where he says it's at the end of the movie and Matt Damon drives away to go find his girlfriend, because she moved out, and he leaves the guy a note and he says, I had to go see about a girl, and Robin goes back into his apartment and goes, son of a bitch stole my line. That's an improvised line.
Right.
That's improvised. That's not in the script.
Right.
But it works just then. So that's what, Jay, to your point, is like he does still improvise, but he learned to kind of like control it. And that's the thing. That's why Robin is so good, because he can be those characters, because he doesn't really want to be himself, it seems. You know what I mean? He can easily kind of drop into those characters. What I also loved, not only the writing in this movie is fantastic, but there's a lot of I guess it goes to the writing. There's a lot of subtleties that are really interesting. So, for instance, here we have Dr. Sayer. I called him Sachs before. Sorry. We have Dr. Sayer, who's obviously more. He says himself he's better with plants, and he's better with worms, and he's better with things in science that are predictable because people aren't predictable. We're social, whereas equations in science and things like that are predictable. And so his life is everything needs to be just so, and everything needs to be predictable. And therefore, it makes it bland. And what I find very interesting is that when Leonard Lowe finally comes out of his coma, and then Dr. Sayer has to take him out into the world to show him what's going on, to him, the most interesting things are eating an ice cream cone on a park bench, and then going for tea in his house. And what did they eat with the tea? Did anybody notice? Saltines and jam. Really? That's how boring. But to him, those saltines and jam and tea, and Leonard Lowe just woke up and he's like, "Are you married?" He didn't say it like that, but "Are you married?" He wants to know, is this all what life is, right? And he's like, this can't be it, right? I didn't wake up into this, and it just, those choices just really shows the kind of world that Dr. Sayer lives in, what is comfortable for him, and he's got to get out of that world. Okay, I'm sorry, Luke.
Yeah. No, I think I picked up on a lot of that too. Even Leonard points to that a few times towards the end when he's like, talking about how we need to see life as a gift, and you kind of realize the commentary this movie has about just us in our daily lives, and we never really wake up from this constant monotonous cycle that a lot of us find ourselves in. And it was just I don't know, it was really refreshing to watch this intentionally, I think, and to pick up on a lot of that stuff.
Yep.
I do, just because one of the biggest notes I put when I wrote this down was the music in this movie is so, we can swear on this, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. So Randy Newman does the composing, and he might be one of the most underrated composers out there. He's done everyone just thinks of Toy Story and Short People, but he's done some a ton of movies. He did A League of Their Own.
Penny Marshall,
right. Yeah,
Penny Marshall for that too.
And he must be he wrote that bit that got me all weepy, that piano bit that they play, and I actually I found it, and I've just been listening to that soundtrack.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, he's really good, and it's really well placed, and obviously not just that part, throughout the movie. I don't know. I like Randy Newman a lot. So,
well, you never think of him or the people that are stuck with him, they think Toy Story and Short People, and they don't understand that he's a composer. You know what I mean? That he actually sits down and composes music that it's actually very appropriate for what's being done in the movie.
And on the note of about who Dr. Sayer, how he is so vanilla. He is. He takes them to the plant place, like the arbor.
Yeah.
Is it arboretum?
Yep.
I don't know if I got the right word, but and I love the. Is it an orderly? The African American guy, and he goes. It's really interesting for the first hour. As a way to say, what is this? Why are we here for this long? Right. Who wants to look at plants for that long, other than people who are like Dr. Sayer, who are just they're easy with the uneventful. Right. So it's so he thinks everyone else should be, everyone wants to listen to opera, or everybody
go to the museum was the other one. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. And he's like, no, how about this? And then next thing they're all jamming, at this fun little spot that's playing some swing music and everything.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
Well,
I like all the different characters too. They separated everybody and made like different quirks for everyone. Like the guy that was staring at the TV that was blinking up and down. Does anybody here? Anybody seen Outside Providence?
No.
What's that?
All right, he played the headmaster in Outside Providence. It's a Farrelly Brothers movie, but it's actually a dramedy. So it's comedy drama. It's so good.
All right,
highly recommend it.
I'll check that out.
That guy plays. I saw him. He's a lot older in Outside Providence, but I heard that voice. Like I didn't see him right away, but then when he started speaking, I'm like, oh, it's quite outstanding. But anyways,
I had a few of those moments on this one. I didn't know. I completely, and this I saw doing a little research. I didn't know Vin Diesel was in this movie. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, he's an orderly. He's an uncredited orderly.
He's just an orderly. Mm-hmm. And then Vincent Pastore plays one of the patients. He doesn't have a name. He just plays one of the patients when De Niro is kind of freaking out that like blocks Dr. Sayer from walking over to him.
Oh, all right.
Like, it's okay. He's okay. But but it's like a skinny young Vincent Pastore, and I'm like, I know, I've seen that guy in The Sopranos. He's a little bit bigger in The Sopranos, but
okay.
Can we talk about John Hurd?
Yes, we can.
And
always such a nice guy.
He always plays the same cantankerous character in every movie he's ever in. He's so good at it.
Yep. Really?
I was
really
yeah.
Like that guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except in Home Alone. Home Alone, he was actually kind of nice.
But even in Home Alone, he was still a little bit like. I mean, let's be honest. He forgot his kid. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day,
you know I just meant like if you compare it to his character in Big.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Let's not spoil it down here, folks. He forgot his kid. Okay,
he forgot his kid.
Shit, what else is going on?
Not once, twice.
So,
right.
Yeah. That's so funny. But he usually plays a guy when he's being this cantankerous guy. He's not overtly evil. He's just doing the black and white. Like, no, we can't. I know we're helping people, but it's dangerous and like it's expensive, and we're gonna get in trouble. And it's always like he's the voice of reason that nobody wants to really hear. But you need that guy. You need John Hurd. You need to rope everything in, otherwise it's fucking haywire. Like everybody's doing whatever. So absolutely.
Yeah, let Luke tell his thing, and then like I have another take on that whole.
I'm just gonna echo what Chris is saying. He's so. Yeah, he's kind of typecast, but he's so good at that. And you're absolutely right. He's never Thanos. You know what I mean? He's never the evil guy. He's always just kind of that guy. You're like, come on. I guess we got to deal with this. He's like the middle management in every company. Like even in The Sopranos, I'm doing a rewatch of The Sopranos because I'm gonna. I can't wait for the prequel to come out. And I forgot he was in that, playing the same kind of guy with a gambling problem. He's the only guy that's kind of like says anything dickish to Tony, and it's just I think he's like super underappreciated. John Hurd kind of rules. He's like a really good actor.
He died, didn't he?
You're right.
He did, a couple of years ago, or maybe 5 years ago even. Yeah.
Right.
So I think we're kind of getting into this level where right now in the movie where it seems like everyone in the hospital doesn't want to change like the status quo. Like I mean, like it's how it is. Don't mess with it. Don't try. But if nobody ever did, then the awakening wouldn't have happened or anything like that. If everybody sticks to everything, then nothing's ever going to get cured. You know, so like it's just kind of sad how he and others would rather just leave them sitting there drooling and with their mouths open looking up at the ceiling and instead of, and I'm not saying turn them into lab rats, but I am saying that it's probably a good idea to at least see. There's only one way for somebody to find out if it's going to work. You know what I mean? You can't test it on somebody who's acting normal. You got to sort of see what you can do. And By the way, any ideas if they've ever expounded upon this research and like
No,
has it?
No, it hasn't. It was a thing. It's again encephalitis lethargia. It comes from a virus so there was an epidemic of encephalitis. If you get it in time, there's no ill effects. But back in the day, in the 1920s, they didn't get it in time, and so one of the downsides to that was the lethargy part. No, they haven't. But the thing is that nowadays, if you start getting symptoms of encephalitis, they can just treat it with a antiviral, antibacterial, and so it never gets to the lethargic part. You just get encephalitis, you have a really high temperature, you go in the hospital, they pump you full of antibiotics or antivirals. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's caused by a virus or a bacterium, but they can get it like that. It's like getting the plague. Like if the plague is still around, but the moment they didn't cure it, but the moment you see it, they can treat it and you're all set. So this doesn't really come up anymore. This is like polio back in the day. Like the people that were confined, like Roosevelt was confined to a wheelchair because they just didn't have anything they could do with polio. But nobody, it's still around, but you can just treat it. Vaccines. So sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Measles? You see? Oh wait, that's still around, but nobody gets it. Why is that? Oh wait, yeah, vaccines. So anyhow, so that
who knew that would be who knew that would be a hot topic in 2021?
I know, right? Holy shit, science! Oh my god!
Well, it's funny, not funny, but true. I remember hearing it was a long time ago when Howard Stern was still on terrestrial radio, and I was listening, and how Robin would do like an hour-long newscast, but they would interrupt and get onto subjects. She had said this group of Amish people were not getting their kids vaccinated because of what they believed in, and somehow a couple of their children got polio. Congratulations!
Imagine that.
Wow.
It's like,
wow!
My goodness gracious.
Terrible.
So,
but anyways,
so let me there's no it just doesn't come up. You know what I mean? Anything that goes untreated, it's not going to get to that stage anymore.
But either way,
I will say though,
definitely, don't just sit there and allow things to remain because, this is the way it is,
right?
God. I mean, because at the end, later, when you see everybody starting to go back, I mean, even Robin starts talking about the little things in life. Like how we can take it all for granted, and they can wake up and go, "Oh my God,"
Yeah, that scene, that was a beautiful scene too, when he's doing that narration and it shows all the stuff that they had talked about for that brief moment. They were, that one girl's getting her hair brushed a certain way and they're playing this record for this guy. And it's just like, even though it was a flash, it was such a, I don't know, it affected everyone. I don't know. And it's just like, I don't know, it's like a cool commentary on that, like that. Sometimes you only get a flash, and this life kind of is just a flash. And I don't know. No,
I was going to say it becomes more valuable. What they experienced was a lot more valuable than basically anybody else in the movie that had lived their entire lives.
Yeah.
Right. So it's almost, let's look at it this way. And I thought of an analogy, and all I could think of when they get first awoken up. That is not a freaking sentence. Wow.
Awakenings,
yes. Wow. The woke culture. When they are all revived from their comas, from their catatonic states, and they live it up, right? But at the end of the day, they're still in the hospital. They don't have any family. They've been there for 35 years. The state takes care of them. So how free are they ever going to be? And all I can think of, you know what I mean? And that to me is the ultimate, not ultimate, but that's a deep sadness in this movie. It's like Brooks from Shawshank Redemption. They are institutionalized. They don't know what it's like because they can't know what it's like. And it's too late for them to adapt to what it's like. So it's almost like, I can't think of the word. It's almost more humane that they were able to see a little bit of life and then go back in. Because what are the chances of them actually adapting to the real world at their age? You know what I mean? The one lady says, the one lady who was the lady in Ghostbusters that said, my uncle thought he was Saint Jerome. where she says, what year is it? She goes, oh, it's 1926. And then later on, she says, honey, I know it's not 1926, but I can't deal with the fact that it's not. I want it to be 1926 because they're institutionalized. The one guy, he's all angry. He's like, how you feel today? He's like, well, I found out both my parents are dead, and I don't know where my son is. It's somewhere on the West Coast. So I'm a little bit resentful. And then it starts to come back. So
he says the word swindled. I feel a little bit swindled.
Yeah, that's a good word, right? So what's better? Never should they have not experienced it at all? Because now they have to experience the pain. And I would say no, they should have experienced what they experienced, but there's no way around the pain. There's no way around it because that's the setup, right? That makes it, and why this movie is genius, that makes it joyful and sad at the same time, which is really the movie Inside Out. So anyway.
No, that's, I think that's pretty smart. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I gotta say this, and I know this is a little bit off topic, but Jay knows this, but you don't know this about me, Luke. But when I was 14, my first job was at a nursing home.
At 14?
At 14, my 14 or 15. Now, I was a janitor. Don't get me wrong. I was just mopping the floors and cleaning the toilets.
He was up in their meds to 1,000 milligrams.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, no, a little bit more, a little more. Push it.
He saw Awakenings. He just wanted to just see what he could do.
I can do that.
I can do it now. Why can't I? I saw it in the movie. I saw it in the movie.
Not even checking the actual drugs. Like, I can up it.
Yeah. Ask him that.
Check it out.
Whatever drug it is, he's just going to put...
It's fine.
Spiking all their milk with who knows what.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
So anyway, it was at a nursing home, and I was in the Alzheimer's wing. So there was a lot of stuff going down. And a 14, 15-year-old, I was there on the weekends, and that building was as old as can be. It had a fallout shelter in it. That's how old it was. Like, it's from the 20s, and it's hot as hell. And when you look at this building, it looks about as old as where I used to work in that nursing home. They've since torn it down and made a better one, thankfully. But the bottom line here is that, you know how he would walk through the hallways and you just hear people screaming for no reason?
Yeah.
That's what I experienced. 14, 15. Oh my God. But then you get used to it. It's so weird. And then you see people that are just like in there, and I'm not making fun, guys. I'm not.
No,
just
totally.
in their wheelchairs, just shaking, looking at the sky. And when you first see it, you're like, oh my goodness. And then you just kind of get used to it after a while, but it's still like ultimately really sad. And I got to tell you, that place, and Robin Williams, like he has to open the window. Remember when he has to open the window and it's all rusted shut? That place, and I'm not, again, it is what it is. It was smelled so bad just because it was no ventilation. It was 1,000 years old. There was no air conditioning. And I was there in the summer a lot. And these people are not continent. So it smelled terrible. And whenever I watch this movie, maybe that's another reason I was so fascinated when I was a teenager, because I know what it's like in that hallway when you never know if you're going to walk past somebody like the black lady and just start screaming for no reason. Like that's the pen that scared it's not great. It's not funny, but that's exactly what would happen. So you kind of like, that was my fascination with this movie. And to Jay's point before, like they're all in there, and it's the status quo. But what are we going to do? We either take a risk and maybe hurt people, or just keep doing what we're doing. And both of those are not great choices.
Well, they're not living.
So,
that's for sure.
Well, he says that. What do they say? That it's we call this the garden because we feed and water. And my grandmother worked at that nursing home. That's how I got the job. And she used to say, "I don't go. I'm an RN, but I go in. I'm not nursing. She said I'm feeding the plants."
Yeah.
Quote.
Coincidentally, the last time I was in a nursing home, a different grandmother, my great grandmother, she had just turned 104 years old or something crazy, but she's had Alzheimer's for the last 8 of those years, real slow moving one.
Yeah.
And she was at the point of her Alzheimer's where she couldn't talk, she couldn't go to the bathroom, and it was like that bad. And it was very sad, but we wanted to, just be there. And she was, most of the time we were there, you could tell she was very, just from her face, like confused and almost maybe a little bit frightened, like who are these people?
Yep.
But then we brought we had our phones, so we played some music from like the 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and her whole face changed, and it reminded me of this movie and how I like how they, and whether it's true to the actual thing or not, probably not, but how they talk about how when they're playing music to get people to respond to it, it's different for each person, and even at the end when he's talking about, you know, the humanity of them and how Leonard became his friend and how that, it just reminds you like the human brain is so much more complicated than I think we have any idea about.
Yep.
And it's, I don't know, it's fascinating, and in all these little things, you know, I just love it.
Well, the fact of the matter is that it's all human life, right? And so everybody deserves to have at least a fleeting moments of respect, if not respect all the time. You know what I mean? And it's all valuable in there somewhere, and it all deserves to be like, you know, you can't take advantage of every moment. You know, you deserve to be happy almost no matter who you are. Hitler, not so much. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't deserve it, but everybody else.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you one too, Luke. When I was in the nursing home, there was this woman, and again, I'm gonna do stuff here, and I'm not making fun, but she was just in her
right,
just staring at the ceiling, and she never talked. And they roll her into the sunroom, and I was in there mopping up, and Creedence Clearwater Revival was on the radio, and it was rolling down the river, or Big Wheel, Proud Mary.
Proud Mary.
And I go, and I would sing a lot when I was mopping, and I'd go, rolling, rolling, and I pointed at her. I don't even know why. I pointed at this woman sitting in the chair catatonic, and she went, rolling down the river, like that. I'm like, what just happened? Because she never talks. She never talks. So whenever, again, borrowing the will of the ball, right? So that's why, again, I don't know that everybody can have this connection to this movie, but that was my connection to the movie. And it's just that life is valuable. You know, you don't know what's going to happen at any point for any reason. So you just got to do stuff and hope for the best. And as long as you're not hurting anybody.
No, but do
your thing, man.
I think it's also,
do your thing.
I think it's also a thing where it's great that, like I was talking about earlier, people, like medical people, not just accepting things as they are. Meaning don't just think, okay, well, you know, this is it. You know, like 100 years from now, Alzheimer's is going to be exactly the same. You know, I mean, they can't think that way. They need to keep trying and doing different things to hopefully get this fixed. Example, I saw, it was either 60 Minutes or 2020. Somebody within the last year discovered what they think is a cure to sickle cell anemia. And basically, they figured out through the DNA, it was like, you know, like there's letters like in the code or whatever for the, and they I don't know, they figured out by changing one of the letters, that seemed to be response to what they needed to do. But they're like, how do we go after those cells in the body? And they thought the HIV virus. So they used the HIV virus minus the minus the part that would hurt people, but the actual virus that would go around and attack the blood cells,
right?
But equipped with this new ammunition and going after the blood cells, changing them from sickle cells to the regular ones. And so they said they showed this one girl that received the treatment. She ends up with a chemotherapy type of, and you see her going through hell for the next couple of 6 months because it's chemotherapy, right? But they show her within a year taking Brazilian jiu-jitsu. You see her getting flipped over onto her back, and they were like on camera. They're like, we were really scared when you got flipped, and she's fine. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So I'm saying, you can't just assume that it's going to be this way forever. They gotta keep tapping in. And I really loved the fact that somebody did. You know, it wasn't like a cure-all, but I'm saying I think it's an all-out.
They tried. They made the effort.
And I don't know. I really loved it.
And you have to have
absolutely.
Those
people. Well, you also let's not forget our unsung hero though. You need John Hurd.
Yeah.
Roping everybody in. I mean, that's part of it. There's no way around that. you need somebody to talk rationally to people. But
because
again, I'm not saying don't make innovations, but you need him there.
No, I agree, because in as much as a pain in the ass John Hurd was in this movie, he was right a lot of the time. Like he, even when and I know not a lot of this is true, but when Robin Williams' character decides he's just going to take it into his own hands and add 1,000 milligrams of this experimental drug,
That's
like
not a
that
good
very
idea.
well could have gone the exact opposite way. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like,
all right,
there is a lot of bad experimental science in this movie.
Yes,
I'm not going to be Neil deGrasse Tyson on this. And just burst everybody's balloon. But that's not the way you do clinical trials, and that's not the way you do actual science. You don't just guess.
No,
you know what I mean?
I'm not saying
it just
that.
doesn't. No, I know it's a movie. It's fine. I'm not going to be a ball buster like deGrasse Tyson. I'm just saying you can't just jump to people. You've got to do mice first and all that stuff. But whatever, it's fine. I'm just saying
you need those people who are willing to not be satisfied with the status quo. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. I agree. But at the end of the day, this movie isn't about medicine, right? It's about life. It's about you never know you never know what's gonna happen at any moment, right? So everybody deserves to be happy, and I think really the theme of the movie, in my opinion, and there's a lot of them, is that even if you only get a sliver of happiness before you die, get the sliver. Even if it's going to hurt when that sliver of happiness is gone, it's better to have at least a little bit before you go rather than none at all. I would rather deal with the pain after and know at least some joy before I shuffle off this mortal coil. And that's really the point. So we feel sad for De Niro because he goes through so much, but at the end of the day, at least he was able to experience something before he went. And even if some of those things were painful, like he had to remember when he shuns his mother.
Yeah,
like that's kind of a hard thing to do because Mom, go get out of here. Because he wanted to go hang out with the girl.
You get it. You know what I mean?
That's a painful thing inside your heart. But that's part of life too. Like the shitty stuff is part of it too, and you have to experience that as well.
Go ahead, no, I feel bad for her though in that spot so badly because she's like, I just got him back. I lost him forever. I just got him back, and now he's pushing me away to go be with a girl.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm the only girl. I should be the only girl. Come on. I've been combing his hair and trimming his nails. Come on.
So I feel the opposite about that scene. She annoys me in that scene so much. And I think she does a great job, but when she's like, he never talked about girls before. It's like, he was 11.
I know.
Right. No, I meant in general. I can see why she can't let go. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's all.
Absolutely. And then really, he sees her for a little while, and I mean, I guess who knows the timeline of this, but you're right. Just in the context of the scenes of the movie, it's that scene when he opens his arms to her, and then after that, he's pretty much like, "Yeah, now scram."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
or when I went to the hobby shop and I bought you all this stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, just put it right there." And he's making his little models and shit. It's like, oh my God, he's suddenly 15. What the fuck happened?
Oh,
Jay, I'm sorry.
By the way,
go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say Julie Kavner was great in this.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And by the way, nowadays, if you hear her talk, she actually talks like Marge. I didn't really hear it as much in this.
I didn't either.
No.
So it was really impressive, and she was just very convincing. I like her a lot.
Also unsung, one of the surprises that I had forgot about was the black orderly. I think his name, I just looked it up. It's Keith Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
He was so good in this movie at conveying that kind of young, orderly, good energy, but still being good with the patients. And he's not really in anything else. I looked him up. I can't find him in anything that I've seen, which is very surprising to me.
Playing Hendrix.
Yeah. It was great.
Luke, I like what you said. I never thought of it like that. He does have that kind of I'm not just an orderly. I do like this job. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor, but I can still help. And he's into the patients, just just like Julie Kavner's into the humanity of the patient. She just wants to help. Just wants to be a good person.
I think I preferred them before.
Yeah, it was great. That's what I mean. The guy, the actor was so good, and I'm surprised he hasn't really been in anything else. Maybe he just was done. Some people are just, they've had enough.
But yet Vin Diesel keeps making goddamn movies.
Hey.
He's in this one and didn't quit.
Go into the hundreds of mil.
He isn't.
No, I
this was
cross
the
over
prequel.
into the 100 mil.
This was the Fast and the Furious prequel.
The
Fast
the
and
slow and the slow and the shambling.
No, you know what it is. This is where Dominic got his idea of like his appreciation for family was in this.
Yes.
Was in this hospital. He's like, I saw these people wake up. I don't want to tell you all about it. Let's just open a Corona.
That's awesome.
Wait, are Coronas in all these movies? Did I miss something?
Is Corona in all of them? The first movie, he does like you know the line from Henry Ford that says you can get any color you want as long as it's black.
Yeah.
For the Model T, he said that. He said, "You can have any color you want as long as you get it in black." Or something like that. And he says, "You can have any beer you want as long as it's a Corona." And at his house, so it was like sort of like basically Corona's like sponsoring the film, right?
Sponsoring the movie. Yeah.
Because it is all it is full frontal in Fast 9. Luke, I saw Fast 9. I'd never seen any of the other ones.
Really?
Start with number 9.
Because it was raining. No, I had my son for the weekend, right?
Okay.
And it was raining. So like, let's go to the movies. And the only thing that we could possibly see that was appropriate at all, he's 16, but still, it was Quiet Place 2 and like other crap. I'm like, well, he likes explosions. So he went to go see Fast 9. It was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. But like this Corona is like all over this movie.
Okay.
What the hell is going on?
I kind of want to watch them now. I've only ever seen the first one. I don't remember a thing about it. But now I just out of sheer curiosity because of how many of them there are, I want to go back and watch them.
Hobbs and Shaw is far superior to. Really? They should have made 9 Hobbs and Shaws. They shouldn't have made 9 of these things.
Their characters are in there later
I know.
on. So that's where you learn about who they are.
It's stupid. Luke, 3 words: cars in space. No shit. Cars in space.
I'm sold.
See? He gets it.
Unbelievable.
Luke gets it.
Unbelievable. Oh, I had a good time with it. Boy, is it stupid. Oh, my God. And I hadn't seen any of these movies, so I'm sure shit was going down that was like making people's heads explode. Like in the theater, like, what? Han's back? What? And I'm like, what's happening? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, do we care? I don't know that I care.
You know what that's like?
Is this somebody's sister? I don't even know what's going on.
You know what that's like? That's like me jumping in on the second to last season of Lost.
Sure. Don't do that.
You know what I mean? I just join in and go, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wait, why would you do that? So you didn't really do that to Lost, did you?
No. I'm saying that him joining in number 9, like his first ever movie was number 9. I just thought it was funny. It was like a starter pack.
You had me nervous that you actually started on season 5 of Lost.
I've never seen it.
Terrible idea.
I've never seen it actually.
So I think hold on, and I think we'll do the wrap up here because I think we talked about this movie. But before I wrap this up and we do the final judgment, Luke, I got to say one thing. You mentioned before how the scene with at the end where you wailed so much you had to leave like it was so sad. And I'm not. Yeah. I'm telling you, I watched Lost. I binge watched Lost. Not binge. Okay. It took me like 6 months to get. It's a lot of Lost. Sure. That last episode, I could not control my sobbing. Yeah. That last 2 minutes. I get it. Oh my! I lost my. I didn't even know. I'm in the bathroom.
You're really selling it,
wailing, and I'm like, no, but I'm like, what is going on with me?
No, but
I don't know what. Do you remember the beginning? Wrong?
Do you remember the beginning of the podcast where I said, well, I usually don't gravitate towards everything. Oh, it's so wonderful. It's so depressing and sad. And it's I'm going to watch that. So I'm saying you're really selling me on watching the series.
Lost is so good.
Lost is. Well, I have such a love-hate thing with Lost.
Yeah.
So I agree with the first. I watched it back when you had to watch a show when it was on TV. That's how long ago I was in from episode 1. And the finale, I did the same thing. Cried, loved it. Yep. And then the further I got away from it, the more I hated the last season in the last. episode.
Yeah.
Because to me, the show, and then I read interviews with Damon Lindelof.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be a 3-season show. And once it got big, they're like, no, it's got to be 10. It's got to be 12 seasons. And he's like, he kept arguing and finally like, how about 6? And so he took his 3-season story and he had to stretch it.
Yep.
And so like the last season does feel very much like they ran out of ideas in hindsight.
Oh yeah.
But while it was going on, I was like, yeah, this finale is great.
No, yeah. No, I'm into it. You could tell kind of like there were some of those ones. There were some of the ones that were in the last season. I'm like, what is this even connected to? I don't even know what this is. But when you do have that last episode with the good and the bad brother, and that goes all the way back to the second episode from season 1.
That was
and then
great.
Then you're back in, and then you're like, oh shit, and then I lost it.
I'm with you. When do the Slee Stacks show up?
Oh, that's when they ride the Tyrannosaurus through the all right.
Not to be confused with the Land of the Lost.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
I will defend Lost. I will defend Lost to its dying day, even though I do see its mega flaws at times. But I will.
And if you want to hear more about that, tune into Chris's other podcast, Defending Lost.
Yes.
And week.
I can do a podcast defending. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I can just do a podcast and get hate mail on defending the last episode. All right.
Ooh.
So I think it's time for Final Judgment, Jay. What do you think?
Sure. Hold on a second.
All right. So let's hit the theme.
I was on the wrong page.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
All right. So because we're all obviously expert film critics, and our opinion is obviously fact, what we're going to do now is determine whether or not this movie stands up to the test of time. It was made a long time ago, so 31 years ago, which is crazy. But we have to decide whether it shows up. If you don't mind, I don't usually go first. I'm going to go first on this one, Jay, if you don't mind, and Luke, if you don't mind.
No biggie.
So watching this movie again, it's tough because we have a period piece. So there's nothing about it that, like, you can't really say they wouldn't drive those cars or where are the cell phones or what's with the dialing telephones and all that stuff. You can't make fun of the wardrobe. So it's obviously that stuff. There's no obviously like slurs in the movie that don't hold up. You know what I mean? There's no sexism. There's no racism. It's a fairly integrated movie as far as I can tell. So now what it comes down to is, does it hold up in terms of the audience? I think absolutely it does. I don't know that this is going to make $1 zillion in the movie theater if you dropped it today. I think that if this movie came around, like it would be in film festivals and then go in small release, and the people that did see it would like it, and then you see it at the Oscars and go, what the hell was Awakenings? It probably wouldn't get wide release because of these days, but I don't think there's anything about this movie that you're not gonna like. And I don't know what those people are talking about with De Niro. That's crazy talk as far as I'm concerned. And my only issue, honestly, is I didn't remember. I don't know what this says about me, because I rented this a lot when I was a teenager, is I don't remember it being this long. And I did not remember how slow it was. Like, it's kind of, and it's okay. I'm not saying slow's bad. Slow's great. As long as it's a good narrative, I don't care that it's slow. But I don't remember it being like taking an hour before something really happens. And that's fine. That's not a complaint. I'm just saying, like, I don't know that people would dig that so much these days unless they were very patient. But obviously, I think the movie holds up. It's fantastic. It's sad to see what happened to Robin Williams. And when I'm sad to see Penny Marshall go, and John Hurd, and who's alive left from this movie, who knows? But yeah, it holds up. So I stamped it. It holds up. Who's up?
Go ahead, Luke.
I'll go.
All right.
And I'm going to start with the one negative I have about this movie, because ultimately, spoiler alert, I 100% think it holds up. But I feel like we've been being too kind to this movie, and the one thing that takes me out of it a little bit is I think his name's Peter Stormare. He plays the chemist.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the guy who's in Fargo. He's Icelandic or Swedish, I think. but they, for some reason, decided to give him a half Swedish, half Southern accent in this movie.
Okay.
And it really annoys me. I don't know why they didn't just let him be.
They usually make him Russian.
Okay.
Swedish. Yes, in Fargo he was Russian, I think, or what? He's always some kind of like scary European.
The last podcast, real quick, I just want to. The last podcast Chris and I did was The Big Lebowski. He's in that too.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, that's right. Yeah. Yep. That's a great movie.
Mr. Pancake's house.
It's been a rough night.
Pancakes.
I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
Eagles, man. Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know why they wanted to give him a Southern accent, and it just doesn't. He doesn't do a good job. That annoys me. That being said, the opposite of that, Max von Sydow, his cameo in it is wonderful. He just plays a great wise old doctor, and but overall, I think I agree 100%. I think it absolutely stands the test of time. The story holds up. The emotion holds up. Yep. Even this time around, I got teary-eyed at parts, and this is like my 4th or 5th time watching, and it, and the music. To me, like what helps a movie last so long is the music, whether it be the even the like not just the composing, but like the choices when they playing a little Hendrix and some of the swing, and then was it the Turtles they had at one point when they're walking around like it's the time?
Yep.
And it just. I think they musically knocked it out of the park, and that's something that really helps a movie eternalize in my mind. And Penny Marshall. I mean, come on, De Niro, Williams. Did this win? I know it got nominated. I don't know if this won.
I'll check.
Academy Award.
No, I don't think it won any awards. Academy Award. Hold on a minute.
And it got nominated. I don't think it won though.
It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay in the Academy Awards.
What won in 90?
That would be Driving Miss Daisy.
Never saw
it. Nah, disagree.
Yeah,
good movie. Movie doesn't beat this one.
No, I would say no. No.
Yeah, but anyway,
okay.
I final judgment. It lasts. I stamp it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Now,
Jay.
I've always said period pieces, have an easier time holding up because they're not representing the year that they're released. But that being said, it goes way beyond that. I think I had never seen this before, so I'm going based on it is all the things that they introduced or just made you remember or think about. All that's timeless. 30 years from now, you're going to be able to reach people by reminding them the small things in life are what we should appreciate. You know what I mean? Like, so life is precious. And that is the ultimate lesson in this film. That's never going to go out of style. So to pass the test of time, you can have a timeless theme like that and nail it. I mean, obviously, if it's done right, it's acted well, it's presented well, it's written well, everything. All those pieces have to come together, and they did. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I absolutely enjoyed myself. It wasn't as gut wrenching as I was expecting. See, like, you know what I mean? When people put that out there, it's like, well, hell, I don't want to watch that. See, I don't know. Yeah. There's one movie I refuse to go rewatch. Did you ever see Terms of Endearment?
No, I've never seen it.
I did.
Deborah Winger is saying goodbye to her children, basically, because she's got cancer. Great time. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Jeez.
Never want to watch that again.
Jeez.
I was like, all right, I'm cured. I'm never watching that again. Thank you.
That's Manchester by the Sea for me. I won't do that one again. Do you guys see that one?
No, but thanks for the heads up.
That's the one with the Affleck, right?
Yeah. You definitely.
Thanks for the heads up.
But you know what?
Don't. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Those movies, those are just sad moments. Whereas this movie, there is joy in the sadness.
Right.
So that's why it's tolerable. It's like Inside Out, right? It's got to be a mixture of the two to really appreciate one and the other. There is joy in the sadness. Whereas Deborah Winger saying goodbye to her children is just fucking sad. That's it. There's no joy there. Yeah. Like, it's just sad. So, no, that's the deal. So, all right. Well, I think we have firmly taken apart Awakenings. We have pretty much come to the conclusion that that this movie stands up test of time. I would definitely recommend it to anybody that hasn't seen it. And please keep it in rotation. Like, movies kind of die after a while. Like, you just don't see them on the TV, or you don't see them streaming, or you don't have it on the front page. Like, this is in Prime. I didn't know. Jay told me it was in Prime. Like,
is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Did you buy it?
Well, I have it.
Oh, you have it, right.
I'm
but that's one of those things. Like let people know there's this movie on Prime. It's free. You should watch it if you have Prime. Like, you should watch it. But let me thank our guest again, Luke Condon.
Right.
Yay! That
Thanks
was really
for
fantastic. Once again, the band is Town Meeting. You should check out his podcast, Long May You Young. And I hope that you
how else can they reach you or check in on you or whatever?
So for the podcast, if you go to longmayouyoungpodcast.com, Mike Shue does a blog, and we used to be very good at episodes during the pandemic. We had a lot of time, and now we've gone to bi-weekly, and even that we were supposed to put one out today, and I just haven't had time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like Neil Young, even if you don't, if you like three guys being absolutely ridiculous and getting drunk halfway through an episode, this would be the one for you to watch.
Excellent.
And for my band Town Meeting, we're on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter a little bit. But just look up Town Meeting, or if that doesn't work, look up Town Meeting Music. We're on Spotify, anywhere you listen to music. We have a lot of shows coming up. Not many of them have been announced, but the ones that have are in the New England area. So we're in Massachusetts. We have a show in Maine coming up, some in New Hampshire. So
where can I get listings? Where can I get listings of that?
I think our website is up to date. Townmeetingmusic.com.
All right.
So.
Any excuse to get out and do something, my man. Town Meeting. So if I see you, I will say hi.
Absolutely.
Town Meeting Music?
Yeah. .com.
All right. Got it. All right. Cool, man.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right. So,
and
Jay?
if you'd like to
go ahead.
get a hold of us, if you'd like to get a hold of us, we are at filmcrickets8099@gmail.com, and we're on Twitter and Facebook, and also now, if you're just listening to us on audio, we are on YouTube, so check this same exact episode out there, so our past episodes, and at least in the past month. So we've been doing this a little over a month, so it's been awesome, and we're excited for the future. So you gotta like and subscribe, though, and please rate and review on Apple.
Absolutely.
Until then, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, take care, everybody. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Bye.
Chirping about movies.